What are the key character traits that lead to success? What are the key consistencies between all successful people? Does it have anything to do with what time you go to bed? Does it have anything to do with what time you wake up, how you dress, what you eat? But fortunately, there are 5 specific characteristics that come up time and time again, and I want to unpack them in this episode. So if you're someone who's looking at, am I on the right path, or am I cultivating the right character traits to put me in the best possible position? Well, we'll start off by understanding that every successful person, may come as a no surprise to you, is ambitious. But let's unpack that further. Let's scratch beyond the surface. What does it mean to be ambitious? What does it mean to have ambition? Ultimately, it means that where you are today is not where you want to be. You have a vision for where you wish to be and what you wish to make of your life. The life that you would like to have is larger, it's more intense, it's more grandiose than where you're currently at. It doesn't mean that you're comparing yourself to others or you're trying to achieve a level of success or fame simply to satiate others. This has nothing to do with external influences. This is an internal dialogue that says, where I am today is fine, but where I need to be is bigger, is better, is more. And this trait of ambition is what sets the waypoint for any successful person. It sets the intrinsic motivation to move forward. If you lack ambition, if you are someone who has a sense of complacency with where you're at in life, you'll have no intrinsic motivation, no sense of push to move in the direction that you need to push. At the end of the day, there's no one that's going to give you the life that you want or the life that you wish to have. You're going to have to get up and do it. But in order for you to get up and do it, you need to know, what is this life that I wish to have? So ambition gives you that clarity. It gives you that visualization of where you want to go. And if you know where you want to go, then you can structure all of the pieces around your life, all of the skills that you build up, all of the actions that you take on a day-to-day basis in order to get you there. It's like having a car but no destination. But here you have a car and you have the destination. Your ambition is the destination. It's a clear-cut destination. It's Google Maps. It's getting you exactly to where you need to go. But it's up to you to actually do the work to get there. So that's ambition. The second is going to be curiosity. And curiosity is essential because it forces you to ask the questions, what if? Or how should we do this? Or what if we tried this? Going into any business, any niche, any segment of the industry, you're always going to want to ask yourself the question, can this be done better? Is there something missing? Can I add to this? Curiosity leads to that intrinsic motivation, again, to learn, to grow, to educate oneself, to make the connections. Without curiosity, you will never be able to spend the time necessary to find the ins and outs of any industry. Any industry that you want to come into and provide value will require a high level of curiosity, because not only do you need to get to know the industry, you need to have the curiosity to learn the ins and outs of the industry to achieve a baseline understanding. But you need to even have the curiosity to go deeper, to dig deeper and deeper underneath the surface, to ask the right questions, to challenge specific status quos that others are not willing to challenge. So a lack of curiosity leads to a lack of competitiveness. It leads to a lack of edge. Those who are curious are unwilling to take things at face value. They always try to dig 1 or 2 levels deeper. Curiosity gives you the tools to stand out. It gives you the tools to provide others with value. And ultimately, it gives you the tools to create something that no one else can create, because you've asked questions that no one else is willing to ask, and you're answering them as you move along because of that curiosity. The third trait is tenacity. This means the ability to keep going when all else has failed, the ability to keep going when you're running on empty, the ability to keep going when you've met shut doors time and time again. Tenacity is the trait of any successful person. It's one of the most fundamental traits, because anything that you see in front of you in life that you believe is worth doing, if you think or you assume that you're going to have a straight path forward and that you're going to be unobstructed and that nothing is going to come in your way and that there's going to be smooth sailing from here to where you want to get to, you're in for a very, very rude awakening, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. Tenacity gives you the ability to pull from within you, from the deepest core, the deepest parts of yourself, the self-belief, the energy, the motivation, the purpose, the drive to keep on pushing when you've pushed and you pushed and you thought you could push no more. It's at that level when you genuinely believe that you've given everything that you have to give, you've spent everything that you have to spend, that tenacity comes into play. And it's in those moments where you really distinguish yourself between the people that are successful and the people that just say they kind of want to be successful, or they're on the path to success. Because success has never been and will never be a straightforward line. What you want, others want. And what others want, create competition. Competition creates obstacles. Obstacles create challenges, and challenges create hardship, and hardship creates pain. If you're unwilling and unable to go through these thresholds of pain, which continue to increase, as they say, more money, more problems, you face bigger and larger issues. You can tell a lot about the scale of a man and the depth of a man from the scale and the size of his problem. So you pick your problems and you get to choose to have larger and larger problems. The more tenacious you are, the more tenacious you will have to be. It's in some ways, in some form, a vicious cycle of tenacity. There's never going to be a point where you just arrive, where you just get to where you want to get to and you no longer have to be tenacious. Just like a callus that's on your hands. When you go to the gym, your hands callus up. They protect themselves, they get hard. And that is the same with tenacity. You become harder and harder. But if you relax, if you put your foot off the gas, if you become less tenacious, these calluses, they soften up. They go back to their natural state. They go back to their baseline state. So tenacity is also, the tenacity to remain tenacious is invaluable. Number 4 is a sense of optimism, an unwavering optimism. To be optimistic does not and should not be confused with being naive, with being gullible, with being stupid, with being short-sighted. To be optimistic means that you assess everything in front of you and you choose to believe that where you want to get to has a successful ending, has a happy ending. You put that as a frame of reference in your mind because you understand that you need to give yourself every single motivation, every single reason, every single bit of drive that you can muster in order to move towards the goals. Because you understand that life is challenging. You understand that things will never be a straightforward path, but you know deep down that you deserve it, that you will achieve the things that you set out to. You'll achieve them in all aspects of your life. So optimism is necessary. Optimism opens the door before it shuts closed because of a pessimistic mindset. If someone is pessimistic, they tend to shut down on opportunities before they even have a chance to go into them. Immediately, they start to think of all of the worst case scenarios. And they flood their mind with this negativity. They flood their mind with all of these worst cases. They're unwilling and unable at some point, psychologically, physiologically, and biologically, to muster up the energy, the movement necessary to go after the things they want. Because they've already shut themselves down. They've already put themselves in a psychological state of distress, and they see no path ahead. How can you walk the path if you've eliminated the path, if you've obstructed the path because you claim and you say that the path is going to move nowhere or get you nowhere? So always retain a sense of optimism. Always choose to believe the best. Always choose to assume that the things that you want and you wish for will come to you if you're willing and ready to do the work and ready to remain tenacious. Any ulterior mode of thinking is at your detriment. No one else stands to lose because of a pessimistic mindset but you. You like to project this sense of pessimism because, number one, you believe that it gains you sympathy from those around you, but the reality is they don't care. Sure, they may act, they may give you a shoulder, but they don't care that you don't think that things are going to work out for you. They may try to care, but they will never be able to care as much as you need to care about your life. So optimism gives you the keys in the ignition, ready to turn on. It gives you the chance to run the race. It gives you what you need. It gives you the ammo to shoot, but you need to take that shot. You need to take the shot time and time again, and you need to trust that where you're aiming and that your gun is not going to jam up on you and that your aim is solid and is tight and you know exactly what you need to do. Accountability. Accountability is, and I've saved the best for last. I always use this analogy with everyone that I meet. And whenever I find someone that is too hard on themselves or they have the tendency to play a victim in their lives, I tell them this one simple anecdote. I tell them, imagine that your life is characterized by a series of cards and you're playing poker on the table. You have these cards and you don't get to choose these cards. You don't get to choose what cards you're dealt, but what you do get to do is you get to choose how you play those cards. So you have two choices. Either you fold, either you play it extremely safe and you remove yourself from the race, or you tell yourself, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to take a chance on myself. I'm going to take these cards and I'm going to look at them with the most optimistic sense. And I'm going to take accountability for where my life is. And I'm going to play these cards because these are the only cards that I've dealt. I have no other cards and no chance of getting other cards. Sure, I may pick up another card during the round, and that's life. Sometimes you start off with a bad start to life, but maybe you catch a lucky break. But that's what it is. It's a lucky break. You cannot count on the lucky break. You should be thankful for it if it comes, but you should not be distressed if it doesn't or if it's taken away from you. You should be accountable for all of the things that happen in your life, the good and especially the bad, because your choices dictate your outcomes. And if you choose, for example, something that is so clear-cut, someone has chosen to do something that is negative against you, you may easily play the victim here. You may say, oh, I couldn't achieve XYZ because this person did this, or this person said that, or this person blocked me from that. But what is the flip side? You can be accountable for putting yourself in the position to be taken advantage of. You can be accountable for choosing to feel a certain way about someone else's reaction. We cannot control what others do to us, but we can control how we react in those scenarios. And accountability gives you the ultimate tools. It gives you the ultimate power. It gives you the power to take back your reactions, to take back your responses, and to say anything that happens to me, the good and the bad, is I'm responsible for. And if it's bad, I'll fix it. And if it's good, thanks to me. It's as simple as that. Doesn't mean to not be appreciative of the efforts of others. It doesn't mean to allow yourself to be stepped on by other people, but it means that the good and the bad should always be and remain within your control, because you have the opportunity and the ability to have no opinion about something, and you have the opportunity and the ability to act when you need to act and to take actions that others cannot take. But if you choose to say, no, I'm a victim in these circumstances, that's what you'll remain, a victim. You'll remain a helpless victim that is unable to take control, that is unable to make a response, that is unable to take life by the reins and lead it down the way that it needs to be led.